Hello everybody, Adam here, and Happy New Year to all of our listeners. 2020 has been something of a trying time, so let's hope that 2021 does us all a little bit better. Before we get started on today's episode, which is the first in our second intermission arc, Blues Wars, it is time to announce our competition winners. We had really good uptake in this competition. We had quite a lot of entries, and it was lovely just seeing all of people's favourite memories. It's brought a big old smile to the face of us in the cast. So without further ado, our 5 winners are Cy Lloyd, Chris Allen, Lily, Paul Menz, and Sammy. Congratulations to all of you. I'll be in touch to get some postal addresses, and then we will get your prize out to you as soon as we can. Just so you are aware though, because of both COVID and Brexit and all of the interesting nonsense that's currently going on in the UK, there are delays on international shipping. Hell, there's delays on internal shipping. So I will get them in the post to you as soon as possible. I cannot promise when they will arrive with you, because who can promise anything in this glorious new utopia we all live in? They will be with you as soon as they can, and I apologise in advance for any delays. I just hope that any delay does fill you with anticipation and excitement. Right, that is enough from me. Congratulations again. Happy New Year, everybody. And, well, you know how it goes. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam and I'm your host, and today's episode will be brought to you after these words from our sponsors.
Hello, I'm Paul Foxcroft, host and dungeon master of Questing Time. Questing Time is a live play Dungeons & Dragons Twitch stream. You can find us over at Twitch at twitch.tv/questingtime or on Twitter @questingtime. We play Dungeons & Dragons pretty much every week with a team of the funnest comedians in the land, assuming of course that your land is Britain. We've got Bryony Redman, Richard Soames, Rufus Hound, Matthew Heighton, and me, Paul Foxcroft, who you may recognise from the D&D holiday specials, which I hosted, or this thing you're listening to now, which I'm also in. That's twitch.tv/questingtime. Watch Questing Time.
Hi, I'm Mikey. I'm going to be the GM for this one, which is unusual. You've seen what we've done in the past, and I do apologise. But we have a short intermission with some lovely players, some lovely guest players as well.
And also Ed.
And also Ed, yes. And I will ask our players to introduce themselves in no particular order.
Hi, I'm Ed Fortune. If you listen to Force Majeure, you'll have heard my voice before. The thing that I do is that I am the literary editor for Starburst magazine. That means I like big books, and I cannot lie. I also manage the Brave New Words brand for Starburst, so the Brave New Words Award, the Brave New Words podcast, the Brave New Words tea towels, all of that stuff. I also do the column Roll for Damage, which is all about traditional games, which is what we call role-playing games and board games these days, apparently. So yes, that's me. Hello. Oh, yes, and I'm playing a basilisk musician called Sam.
Hello, I'm Paul Foxcroft. I'm, well, I mean, bear in mind COVID's happening, so most of what I'm about to say is a lie. But I'm a comedian and actor who hasn't worked this year. And but I'm also the host of Questing Time, a actual play D&D live stream where I make 4 comedians play Dungeons & Dragons on Twitch. If I've been productive, then you'll have already heard me talk about that in an advertisement I have yet to record. Yeah, also, why not check out Ted Lasso on Apple Plus, where I'm in it for one scene. It's a good scene, and that's the thing. Today I'll be playing I'm also playing a musician. I'm playing a Wookiee drummer called Keith Too Big Moon. Sorry, my apologies. Keith Too Big. That's no moon.
Oh. So, and where can we find you on Twitch?
On Twitch, you can find me at Questing Time for D&D related stuff, or at Paul Foxcroft for the same D&D related stuff retweeted. And but on the Paul Foxcroft account, you can also hear me talk about my incredible back injury, as I realise that I have, for the second day running, taken the wrong painkillers, and I'm gonna get weirder. I see what I've done. I've put them in the wrong box. And you can find us on Twitch. We're on twitch.tv/questingtime because of how branding works. It would make no sense to call it anything else. David, over to you.
Hello, I'm Adrian Tchaikovsky. I'm a novelist. I'm probably best known for my book Children of Time, which is about horrible hairy spiders in outer space. My most recent book is The Doors of Eden, which was out just last month and or this month if you're in the States, which is all about parallel worlds and may also contain some spiders. I am playing a Gand, which is at least a vaguely insectoid creature, named Phlebas. He is a lead Huzz player, which is something that sounds like a bagpipe filled with bees.
It may be actually a bagpipe filled with bees. We don't know what's inside there.
Oh, and on Twitter, I am @AptShadow.
Hi, I'm Mim. I'm from the Force Majeure podcast, which I do alongside Adam, Ed, and Mikey. It's a lot of fun. You should check us out at Force Majeure Pod.
They are listening to it right now.
Well, check out the main storylines, what I mean, because this is a special... This is like the chocolate cake that you have after a glorious tapas.
That's such a great combination.
There's never a wrong time for tapas or chocolate cake, in my opinion.
That traditional Spanish dessert.
Anyway, okay. Hi, I'm Mim. I'm from here.
And who are you playing?
What does it matter?
Good point. Adam.
Nothing makes better podcast content than just oblique nihilism.
I'm Mim. I play DC Sonic, who is a Chadra fan, a specialisation as a slicer, and a career as a spy.
And I am a mixologist. You will find me on the decks, mixing it up, freestyling.
And I'm Adam, you know who I am, and I'm playing Sneed Manchuripon, a Thespasian gambler and theremin player.
The only thing that can be remarked about the planet of Larus is that it is, ironically, fairly unremarkable. Found in the Imperial Outer Rim, it sits close enough to Hutt space to be tarnished by the various Hutt criminal enterprises, but close enough to the Mid-Rim that the local crime bosses feel they cannot flaunt their activities too garishly and keep a relatively low, but still certainly active, profile. We focus on Chigaris, a large industrial city in the northern hemisphere of the planet. Chigaris is known for its windy climate, its plain-talking people, its love of music that is burnt into the soul of every single one of its residents. Oh, and also pizza. Each of you was raised here, and all called Dunmore Minimum Security Orphanarium a home. Life at Dunmore was a good one. There you were taught lessons about life in the galaxy by the head of the Orphanarium, Matron Freeman, a kindly but strict elderly lady who would often wax lyrical about the nature of sin and evils of what she called the dark side. But the one thing that you took away from Dunmore was your deep love of music, thanks, in most part, to the repurposed astrometric music teacher K8BL, who, through a little more than enthusiastic beeps, melodic clicks, and virtuoso hums, left each one of you inspired to leave the Orphanarium and carve out your own musical career across the galaxy. And carve you did, although the style varied, the instrument varied, and the level of fame and success varied. Some of you have not thought of the Orphanarium for many years, so it has come as a surprise when you receive a communication from your old matron. The communication is simple. The Orphanarium needs your help. So, without a moment's notice, you pack an overnight bag and return to your roots. The scene opens as you arrive at the Dunmore Orphanarium. It is an imposing building in one of the rougher neighbourhoods of Chigaris. As fate would have it, you all arrive at roughly the same time. So, I say you all arrive at the same time, but somebody has to be first, so describe how you enter the scene, what you look like, and what you're doing while you're waiting for everybody else to turn up.
So Sam arrives. He has gotten a lift off essentially a bus full of various alien types. They all seem to be having some sort of party. He's clearly hitched his way there. He steps off. He's carrying two very heavy looking cases in one set of arms. He's very, very finely dressed. He's wearing a pinstripe suit, which is with big shoulder pads, enormous sunglasses, a pork pie hat, which is slightly more exaggerated, and he has big, heavy, well-worn boots. His clothes are well looked after and quite expensive, but also have been worn pretty much every day for a long time.
You look up at the Orphanarium. It is an imposing building. You can't help but think back to when you were a child. It brings a lot of emotion and a lot of memories of the music that you learnt here, the lessons you learnt here, and it's humbling somewhat. In the same way that going back to your roots might be, where you remember every little negative thing that might have happened and every little positive thing gets pushed to the back. It is it's a definite shock to the system.
So, Phlebas arrives on foot, trudging along with the air of a creature that has obviously had a very long and fairly penniless journey. Phlebas is wearing a garish outfit, ornate and elaborate, and much darned and repaired, and extremely bulky and heavy, and is carrying large bags and one exceptionally fine lacquered and inlaid case, and is walking with the aid of a large and very spiky stick. Phlebas looks like they have fallen on hard times.
You walk up, you see Sam. Is that how you pronounce it, Ed, or is it extra A's?
It's so his first name is Sa, and his surname is Am. So his Sa Am.
You see Sa Am looking up at the building in contemplation. There's a little bit of apprehension on his face.
Sneed slithers round the corner. They are a Thespasian, which looks kind of like if a giant snake had a lion head. It's very peculiar. Yeah, they're kind of like a noseless lion face on top of like a snaky Yuan Ti style-y body, with ridiculous hair. Said ridiculous hair currently for Sneed has been dyed a vibrant purple and teased into a multifaceted beard and moustache. The top knot that Sneed tends to wear is currently hidden underneath a little bowler hat. They are wearing a tailcoat that goes down and kind of parts over their long tail, which slithers behind them. And their chest and torso is wrapped in like purple silks that occlude the fact that maybe there's something kind of going on a little bit underneath. In one hand they're carrying a large suitcase, and it's the sort of suitcase that flips open to have to have little legs and turns into an impromptu table. And you can see in like a little clear part at the top of that 3 cups and a ball kind of behind a plexiglass screen that's again part of the briefcase that they're carrying. They've got a backpack hunched over their left shoulder, being weighed down by what appears to be the long spiky bits of a theremin sticking out of the top of it, which keeps occasionally knocking their hat a little bit forward. And they slither around the corner, look at the Orphanarium, look at their erstwhile childhood friends in front, nod.
Evening, squires. Nice to be back at the old homestead, isn't it?
As that is said, I'd like to imagine that there's a sort of whatever the squealing of tyres is when you have vehicles that hover. So just a guy in the front making tyre noises.
Ships make noise in space, so why not squealing of tyres? They program the squealing of tyres into these things.
So it's like a sort of cargo speeder hovering, but somehow squeals around the corner, and without slowing down, the back doors open, and you just see 3 thugs throw a Wookiee out of the back. The Wookiee is wearing sort of like biker leathers and has manacles around his forearms with a bit of chain attached to them, but the chain's been snapped off at some point. And the Wookiee just hits the ground and tumbles into a load of garbage. And waits for way too long to be comfortable before standing up. In fact, not even that. It's just lying on his back, kind of breathing quietly, rummages around in a pocket, produces a cigar, lights it, and then just lies in the street looking up, smoking a cigar.
The garbage is remarkably comfortable. It's clearly more comfortable than any other bed you've slept in the past 2 or 3 weeks. So you could lie here. You could lie here.
Sam will look around and go, looks like someone's got the band back together, but we're missing someone.
As they say that, with perfect timing, a really sleek-looking car pulls up. You can hear music start just before it arrives you with a kind of techno beat. And it continues to pull up. It's quite a long vehicle with lots of black tinted windows. And then finally, the back of the car, one of the doors opens up and out pop 2 quite large people carrying a collection of boxes. And as they walk up, they finally part, and there is a small Chadrafan, dressed all in black t-shirt, tight black trousers, hair slicked back, vaping some kind of strange machine that also lights up with LEDs. And you'll notice that the trainers also have LED lights on them.
Do they light up at the same time as the vape?
Oh, they light up every time he moves.
You've got kids' shoes on, is that what you're saying?
Well, I am very small.
Are they the kind with wheels?
Possibly. You don't know. But that every time he takes a step, they light up, as if every aspect of his life is to a beat. And as he gets up, he looks up at the building, looks at everybody else, nods and goes, "Hey." And that's it. Never been a big talker, has Sonic.
Looks like love's been kind to at least one of us, eh, geezer?
On the back, as the car pulls away, you can just see cheapo rent-a-limo.
Sneed slithers over to where Too Big is on the floor in the garbage and offers a hand.
Too Big reaches his hand out. Would you like to try and help Too Big up? How's that going to work?
I think just leverage. I'll pivot on my tail point and just lean back and,
I don't think we need a roll on this, certainly, but
I'm my own personal fulcrum.
Unless it's a competition, unless you want him down in the garbage with you, then there's no roll.
I don't. Also, I love that my own personal fulcrum was my favourite of Johnny Cash's covers.
Oh dear.
Sorry about that album we did about physics.
Okay, you're looking up at the Orphanarium. It's quite a tall building. All of the buildings around here are only 2-3 stories high. But this Orphanarium is maybe 6 stories high, and it looks like an old factory. There are bars on the windows, but the bars on the windows only go up the first couple of floors, so it's quite clear, whilst it looks like an intimidating building, it's there to keep people out, not to keep people in. It is not a prison, but it does look incredibly intimidating. The doors up to it are double doors. They are a stern, darkened wood. It is dark. It is early evening. There are no children around. It seems like it might have been lights out a while ago.
Whoa. Younglings?
Younglings, yes, of course. There are no younglings around. Either a Jedi's come and killed them all, or it's after lights out.
We can't know
exactly.
which.
Until you go inside, we have no idea which.
I should clarify, because I'm playing a Wookiee and I physically can't do a good Wookiee noise. Is it okay if I have like a little translation droid pinned to my shirt?
That's exactly what it is. You don't have a translator. There's a little droid, and rather than being pinned to your shirt, it's hovering just by the side of you. It's about maybe tennis ball size, and it's always maybe about. It's like a little iron stone, really. It's just floating around your head, and every time you growl, it chirps away and translates to everybody what you're actually saying into a Galactic Standard Basic.
Or you could wear a 3PO unit as a really big golden medallion.
Just the head. Head.
I believe that's a Chewbacca look already. Just like the least practical backpack in the world.
I am entirely happy with you wearing round your neck a protocol droid head,
like a Flavor Flav clock.
I really like. I was sold on it, but I like the idea of having a sort of Wookiee Ironstone. So I'm going to go with
Well,
that.
Or we can split the difference and have a floating C-3PO head.
That's terrifying. It's about maybe tennis ball size. It has its own personality and its own interests, and so, but it's never more than a few feet away from you. But it does every so often get distracted by other droids, shinier things. It tries to try and keep everybody you're talking to within an arc, but droids have their own lives. But it is floating around your head right now. Or floating around the garbage right now. Okay, so the building is there. It looks to be... It doesn't look deserted, but it does look like they've shut down for the night. You remember when you were children, very strict bedtimes, and it is dark, therefore it is time to sleep. What are you going to do?
Well, I never expected to come back here.
This stirs in me many sanctioned emotions.
This was the reason I wrote my last album.
I'm reasonably sure I left some kind of cake in a cupboard.
Too big? Did you mean to say that, or was that the droid? I can never tell.
This is the voice the droid chose for me.
See, I never really left the area. There's always a couple of squires interested in a bit of penny ante-gaming round here. And I made a successful business taking them for a bit of a ride. Not in the manner of a taxi cab, if you understand what I'm saying.
Good. I do not understand what you're saying, yes.
He's using euphemism to convey a point.
I don't suppose any of you are interested in maybe a quick round of sabacc while we wait for the old lady to open the door for us.
Games of chance are strictly prohibited.
That's why they make so much money playing them, Squire.
I don't suppose there's any way that can go possibly wrong. And I stare, I walk past and go, so I'm ringing the bell then, am I?
Wait, have we not rung the bell yet?
I'll pull the Paul Cody thing. Is that like a Paul Cody thing, or is it one of those kind of Jabba's Palace style?
If you want it to be a Paul Cody thing, then it's a Paul Cody thing.
I'm imagining a sort of Star Trek version of the mansion from Clue.
Yeah. This is a collaborative game, so yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. Which unfortunately means you're going to get shot when they open the door, but never mind.
Only if we're singing Telegram.
Sonic nudges Phoebus in the ribs and is like,
You know they know we're here already. They knew everything.
You ring the bell. It is quite clearly a digitized noise that comes out, but it does sound like a proper church bell as it pulls. And the doors mysteriously open. Anybody with any sort of computers or engineering know that this is perfectly natural and you're in a Star Wars game and doors just open like that. But anybody without any levels of that, ooh, mysterious.
Look, a mysterious thing has happened, as it happens consistently with most doors I look at. One day I'll kill a ghost.
Too big, seriously. I think you need to get that fixed again. Shall we go through the threshold? I walk through the threshold.
Yes.
Okay, as you walk in, I'd like you to roll some destiny dice. So, okay, the way we do this is everybody gets one of the white dice, which is the force dice. You get to roll that, and black pips is the dark side, or white pips is the light side.
I rolled one dark side.
I rolled 2 light.
I have also rolled 2 lights.
I rolled 1 dark.
and I have rolled 1 light side.
And I rolled 2 dark side. So that is quite a hefty pool of 5 light side and 5 dark side.
Balance.
Those of you who haven't played before, these can be used to affect the story. You can say you're spending a light side point. You can use the light side, I use the dark side ones. You say you're spending a light side point, and it can affect the story in a minor way. It's like a fate point, so to speak, but you can say, can I spend a light side to have something with me, or can I spend a light side for there to be a door, or something that affects the world around you. You'll kind of get the idea as we go, but if you have any queries whether you can use one, just give me a shout and we'll negotiate.
You can also spend them to upgrade your own dice roll, which will turn a green dice into a yellow dice for your dice pool. And for when Mikey's rolling against us, like trying to shoot them, we can upgrade his difficulty, which would turn one of his purple dice into a red dice. So it makes them harder for them to do bad things.
You may also have a special ability that is activated by the use of a destiny point. So, for example, I have the utility belt ability that allows me to basically pull weapons out of my
not
ass.
literally.
Why is it called utility belt? If it isn't just sort of, I don't know,
Yeah, utility ass.
useful rectum.
Besides, we all know that bestialists have cloaca.
Wait, does that mean that he's carrying around a separate ass full of guns?
It's called a bum bag.
Hey!
The door opens. As you look inside, there is a large hall area with doors off to classrooms. The orphans all lived on the second floor. On the third floor is the matron's office. There is a set of stairs as you go in to the right, and no people around.
Well, this is deliciously ominous. Sam, you always like to be the centre of attention. That's after all why you play the guitar. Why don't you go and slither your way upstairs and see if you can't scare out some company for us?
You want me to face Matron? Are you sure?
Yes, because you always were the most entertaining one when we were getting a dressing down.
I mean, I feel like it's bringing up some memories right now. Okay, I'll.
I had made the assumption that any former errors not yet punished had been forgotten by the establishment.
Assume nothing with the matron.
Nah, I doubt that's the way these sort of things work, Squire.
As you stand on the doorway and decide whether you want to go upstairs, a couple of scout troopers on speeder bikes zip past behind you. They seem to be going somewhere in quite a hurry. You know, their twos and blues are on.
Well, if that isn't a bit of ominous foreshadowing, then I don't know what it is.
Oh, look, I don't know if this is the right time to bring this up, but I assume none of us voted for them, right?
Nah,
My sort of people do not yet vote.
nah, they don't take kindly to our sort of people. Alright then, Sam, if you're gonna dilly-dally around the doorway, I'm gonna snack myself up there.
And Sneed fortifies themselves and slithers in. They're very nervously, like subconsciously, they have taken a large kind of a poker chip out of one of their pockets and they're spinning it across their knuckles. They don't appear to have realised they're doing that.
What's a bit strange about this place, and obviously not too strange because you're an adult now, but whilst it's incredibly intimidating to be here because of all the childhood memories, it doesn't seem quite as big as it was. I mean, maybe you've got bigger, who knows? But it's a strange thing. You slither up, and I imagine you're going to the matron's office?
Yeah.
You slither up the stairs, and you remember a point where you came tumbling down these stairs, and it seemed like the fall, in your mind, was a lot further than it is now.
Some may say I've never stopped falling.
Oh.
It haunts me.
Is anybody following?
Yes.
Sonic isn't going to follow until he's slicked back his hair, checked that his shoes are tidy and smart, made sure his shirt is tucked in, and then you see him shake his head as if, wait a second, why am I bothering? I'm a grown-up now. And march up.
Sonic, unlike everybody else who feels that the Orphanarium is a lot smaller than it used to be, you are exactly the same height as you were when you were in the Orphanarium. So it brings back the memories like it was yesterday.
Sam has walked to a step up the stairs and is now waiting for everyone else whilst hurriedly retying his shoelaces and making sure that his belt is correct, and he's taking his sunglasses off, polished them, put them back on, taking his sunglasses off, polished them, put them back on. He's done this nervously about 4 times.
And the good thing about being a basilisk and having 4 arms, you can do it all at the same time.
Yeah.
I kind of get the idea you have more than one pairs of sunglasses and they're going through a cycle. Whilst you've got one set on, the other's being polished, and they just continuously swap. So you climb the imposingly narrow staircase. As you get within about 10 feet of the matron's office, the door creaks open.
Ghosts!
Those of you who have any sort of levels of technology or any sort of computers or engineering know this door doesn't do that.
I think despite having led the way up the stairs, the closer to the matron's office they get, the slower that Sneed kind of snacks their way up the stairs. And I imagine that by the time we get to the door, probably Too Big and Phlebas have now overtaken Sneed. And Sneed is muttering something like, the problem with stairs is they're not very well adapted for a tail like what I has.
Come in, Sneed. You hear as you get to the door. You know she can't have heard you.
I told you she knew. She always knows.
Ghosts.
Now, the matron is clearly a Jedi. The thing about Jedi in hiding is they're all terrible at it. And she is still wearing what seemingly is the Jedi uniform of hobo rags. However, I've got her defined as a human, but is there anything you want her to look like? I think she's probably near human, so she's a Star Trek alien rather than a Star Wars alien. So she's got something glued to her face or something like that. What's she look like?
Penguin.
See, what I was thinking is, being based on a nun from the original film, that she's a Safari bird person, but with penguin markings rather than cockatiel.
I agree, yes. She looks like a penguin in a bathrobe. She's very beaky though, at all angles. It's like she's got a very sharp face for a penguin. And you know, for the one time she took her hood down from her quite blatantly Jedi robes, she's got a crest, so she's like a rock hopper penguin. Come in and sit down, she says sternly, but not unkindly. In front of her there are quite clearly children's chairs.
Sam mutters under his breath, nuns, they're everywhere. They bind the galaxy together.
Nuns. Why did it have to be snakes?
Sneed looks at you slightly hurt, blinks, lowers his head.
I shake the translation droid.
As you grab it, it's looking at you, and now it doesn't have a face, but it does look confused.
It says, try again later. The future is uncertain.
You can, if you wish, force yourself into the child's chairs. DJ Sonic, this is the most comfortable chair you have ever sat in.
I was going to say, I don't know who's having a problem with this, but he does sit as far back as possible, possibly in that childish way, fighting anybody for the seat furthest away from the penguin.
The chairs are all equally distant from the penguin, but you can move yours back subtly if you wish to roll a skullduggery
I will
roll.
do so.
The difficulty is her perception, so it's 2 red you're rolling again.
Well, that is a hard fail.
As you all go in and either sit down or not, I imagine Too Big maybe will not fit in one of these chairs.
Not gonna stop him trying.
Okay. You hear a horrendous scraping noise as DJ Sonic stops the scene as he pulls his chair away from the penguin.
A real kind of awkward silence.
Everybody is staring.
As soon as Sonic stops moving the chair and there is a brief moment of silence, as soon as anyone inhales to speak, I sit through a chair.
The chair explodes under your weight. There's no way of putting this chair back together. It's just a lot of flat pack furniture now. Just think springs spewing off. Now these are not wooden chairs. These are Durasteel space chairs. So you have destroyed it. Everybody else.
Phlebas will kneel and will start reciting what promises to be a very long-sounding tone poem, The Correct Thanks for Returning to a Camp Long Abandoned.
Ever the apple
Because
polisher.
that's how he was taught in the temple. You're going to have to stop him because it will go on.
Sam has ignored the chair. He's put it to one side, looked at it again, pulled out a screwdriver, started repairing the chair, realised what he's doing, put the chair down, and then is sitting on the floor in a kind of cross-legged fashion, and is now staring at Phlebas, waiting for Phlebas to stop.
Sneed snakes most of their tail underneath the chair, then kind of curls back on themselves so they're sat on it, but they're actually supported themselves on their own tail. Chairs not being particularly designed for people without legs. Just a thin bit at the end of the tail, just kind of tucked underneath.
The penguin waits for you all to sit down in whatever fashion you choose. She does not wait for Phlebas to finish his religiously... It's a religiously significant poem, is that right?
Very, very, very solemnly religious.
She doesn't wait for you to finish that. And says, sharply, the Dunmore Orphanarium is in dire financial need. Since the Huts moved into the neighbourhood, there have been more and more taxes to ensure the safety of the children. The Orphanarium owes Junker the Hut 51,227 credits.
That's a very specific amount of credits.
If you'll forgive the interruption, it's been my experience that most numbers are specific.
You're the droid.
To be clear, that was me.
Says the droid.
Sorry, I mean it was me, not this guy.
Sonic stands up, slicks his hair back again, and says,
Well, it'll be a shame to see the old place go. Oh well, bye-bye.
Was that it? Weird. Okay, bye then.
The penguin scowls, pulls out a large wooden ruler, storms up to Sonic, and dings him hard around the ear. The Orphanarium needs your help. I will not hear this negative attitude from you, DJ Sonic. Time is of the essence as well. For a rival crime boss known as Alvar has worked out who owes Junker money. He's making it incapable of the debtors to pay. Several buildings in the neighborhood have already burnt down.
It is, of course, our duty to come to the aid of our childhood camp.
Yes, and I, for one, would be most happy to help burning the things down. Wait, did I get the right end of that?
The other thing.
Kill.
I mean, that is a fair point. Do you want us to... What do you want us to do? Raise you money? Shank this hut? Relocate the Orphanarium to somewhere a little bit more salubrious?
I am told you are all very successful musicians. Are you not?
We are all very musicians.
I was thinking some sort of charity fundraiser, though arson, I think, might also work. I mean, we could do both.
Charity arson.
I think they call it pyrotechnics.
In my experience, it's very difficult to monetize arson after the fact.
That's why you do it beforehand.
You have not heard of the insurance industry, therefore.
The upshot of which is that the debt is to be repaid to Junker within 24 hours. Is there anything you can do to help?
Well, I have questions about how this has come to pass. That seems like a crazy short time period.
Sonic whispers to whoever's nearby,
The nun got a crazy spending habit.
Anything you can do to help us. You're our only hope. You're our last chance at keeping the Orphanarium going.
Explain to us who it is that wishes to set fire to things.
Hello.
No, the other one.
The Duros, Alvar. He has been taking out the financial support that Junker has. I believe he's trying to take over this part of the city. But Junker is trying to reclaim as much of the money he has owing to him before the place is burned down.
I think we've all done gigs for huts before. And I have to say, it's never really the best of ideas. I mean, you normally end up singing the same song again and again and again, and then someone falls down a pit, and then someone else turns up from health and safety, and then you have to, insurance gets paid out. Sorry, I'm going on. Maybe it's just me. So, I don't know, should we go and see this Junk of the Hut?
Are you suggesting that our combined musical talents will be worth to him the sum of over 50,000 credits?
I'll be honest. I know what a hut might want to do with us to make money, and I'm a free agent.
You've got an agent. Who are you with?
I'm in between representation at the moment, Squire. The way I see it is we've got a handful of options here. Option number one is I teach the good, our good Reverend Mother here how to gamble properly. But that might not get us a good gain if we don't have a decent stake to put in. Option number two is we do a charity gig, try to earn as much money as possible and repay Junk of the Hut. Or option three, we go to the pub and we raise a glass to the things we've lost and watch it all burn down. Ow! All right, option three is off the table then.
Thank you. That's exactly what happened.
I mean, I'm with Isaac, Sino, and Brunt. Hang on, I've got their card somewhere. ISB, there you go.
I don't think that means what you think it means, geezer.
They were very polite and they said they'd be in touch soon.
They were. They took all your details down and everything.
We do see other options here. This were this Duros have some accident befall him, then perhaps the gratitude of the huts would be worth 50,000 credits.
Oh, that is a point. Is there any price on this Duros' head? Maybe we could strap him into a cannon and fire him into the sun.
I'll be honest, I have no idea. I don't try to dilly-dally in that sort of nonsense.
What, sun cannons or bounties?
Take your pick.
I'm still confused as to what the plan is. I mean, have we sorted out a set list? Do we all have our instruments?
You all have instruments with you, yes. Apart from DJ Sonic, who has enough to maybe do a wedding DJing, but you don't have your full kind of everything with you.
I kind of imagine, I mean, obviously, like, Mim, stop me if I'm wrong here, but I kind of imagine that DJ Sonic, rather than instruments, has a bag full of tiny little droids. You know, like the ones they use in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that then go scanning? But you've got 3 or 4 that do sampling, 2 that are floating scratch pads, 1 that's like a voice modulator.
I'm happy with that if you are, Mim.
Yeah, one of the boxes also folds out into quite an impressive mixing deck in a sort of very spacey ka-chung, 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 ka-chung. Like, this should not fit in the space it originally begins in.
Is it a manual deck, or are there like the laser projections that as you run your hand through goes wiggle, 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 wow, kind of thing?
Oh, it's manual because a lot of it has been built by Sonic himself. If you probably haven't heard his work because it's very underground. It's a little too cool for people like you. But yeah.
Your kids will love it.
As you're discussing what you might possibly do, you can hear the very familiar thudding of an astromech droid trying to get upstairs when it's not R2-D2 and doesn't have a jetpack.
I will stand up, say, if I may, and then go downstairs, pick up the droid. Just pick the droid up.
K8BL, the astromech music teacher, is slowly making his way up the stairs to the matron's office. He's about halfway up.
Am I strong enough to pick him up and carry him?
Oh, yeah, totally. If you want to, you can help him up there.
Okay. I found an old friend.
Robot!
He wiggles until you put him down and then rolls into the matron's office. He's got a flat head. He's very much like one of the Imperial astromechs. He's black in colour but a slightly blue sheen to him. He's quite significantly repurposed because he has two what look to be possibly B1 battle droid, but proper arms stuck to the side of his head. So he's got full mobility on there. That's how he actually plays musical instruments.
Like Chopper, but with arms kind of wedged on the side.
They're like bunny ears on an astromech. He tweets and hums quite melodically for an astromech droid. And he says,
"Younglings, I suppose you've heard about this dire situation the matron has."
Yes, we were discussing whether or not we're firing people into the sun from a cannon.
Uh-huh. And how would that help exactly?
I mean, it can't hurt.
I mean, it would be fun.
How can we know unless we try?
He makes a good point. I mean, that's science right there.
We lack a cannon, however.
Well, it looks like you've got everything under control then. But I thought that you might want this.
and one of the big arms kind of folds almost in on itself and goes into a little compartment and falls back out. And there is a flyer, a paper flyer, which you don't see very many of, but a paper flyer. And he hands it to Sneed. The flyer says at the top, it says, the Hood Cartel. And it turns out that the Hood Cartel are having an all-comers music competition in the nearby city of Detrosis. And chance would have it, the grand prize is, as an uncanny twist of fate, 51,257 credits. Who'd have thunk it?
Wait! That number's like this number!
Very specific. I sense the sticky tail of fate taking a dabble in me bag of peppermint candies here, my friends.
Why did that sound so gross? That was disgusting. The thing you said was horrible.
I think it's me forked tongue. It makes everything a little bit sinister. I can't help it. That and the fact I've got a little bit of a throat issue at the moment. I've tried to get myself some Calpol, but it ain't bloody shifting.
It's destiny, my friends. We have to reform the band.
But look around the room, we already have.
Aye. That's a good point. And actually, I did say that earlier, didn't I?
Whilst I mentioned that you all have your instruments with you, I'm going to flip a dark side point and say that whilst you all have your instruments with you, there is a vital piece of each of your instruments that you potentially need to replace. Let's say there are some wires, for example, from DJ Sonic that you might need. Maybe a reed for the husk pipes that are needed.
More bees.
More bees, who knows? All of you have something as part of your instrument that means it is not 100% ready to have a competition of such magnitude.
Well, wait, I've realised the problem. While I have these two drumsticks, I haven't brought the drums.
That is entirely correct. You have not got any drums with you.
And my theremin has got one of the it's got like the hoopy hand wiggly bit, but it ain't got the tall part. I need to go harvest me an astromech. Not you, my friend, don't you fret so.
You know, I thought it was really strange when I came in at the spaceport and there was a place selling nice pies, and I didn't have any credits in the local currency, but he took guitar strings, and I thought I'd be able to replace those. And now it turns out I need my guitar strings.
You traded your guitar strings for You traded your strings for pies?
I was very hungry.
Was it a good pie?
It was a very good pie. A little bit stringy, actually.
And Phlebas, what of your bees?
I am, as it happens, missing certain mobile organic components to my huz. There must be a hunt.
All right. Well, I think the plan is clear, friends. We need to get to Razor's Discount Music in Calculon City. And also find a beehive.
Those of you who have stayed around this area previously can roll me a...
Streetwise?
Streetwise, I think, yeah.
And if we don't have a skill?
Yeah, then just roll me a straight cunning.
What would the difficulty be?
It is only 2 purple, and if you really wish, you can do it as a joint roll. So discuss amongst yourselves if you want to just do one roll together.
I've literally just rolled and got a triumph, so...
Okay, so let's not do a joint roll.
I've done it, and I got two hats, a crab, and 2 spiders.
I have.
Why?
the
Genuine. I
hell?
love this dice rolling up, but why isn't there just like there's an enormous amount of unused space, and that would be a great place to put a key.
You failed the roll, but came out with it with a single advantage.
How?
Because the explosions on the green dice are successes, and the evil hats are failures, so they cancel each other out, leaving you with just.
So you put each hat covers a spider.
And I've done the other way around. I think I've succeeded, but I've come out with a whole bucket load of threat. Well, when you're hunting bees.
Okay, Adrian, as you've succeeded, you know of several places a lot closer than the Razor's Musical Emporium in this city alone that you could go to get various different organic components to your bagpipes or husspipes.
I got 1 success, 2 threat, and 1 triumph, and I can find that out by mousing over, and it just tells me.
If it's all right with you, Ed, I'm going to weirdly amalgamate the threat with the triumph.
Ed, you know of a much closer music shop, and you happen to know that one of the silent partners of this much closer music shop is a Gyros known by the name Alvar, who is the issue that Junker is having. So you could have at his shop, because it is quite late at night and it will probably be closed.
And I got 3 success and a threat.
I'm going to add this threat in to the fact that the triumph means that you can stick it to the guy that's having problems, but this shop will probably be a little bit on the guarded side.
So I'm going to have a brief flashback to the caravan that I arrived in. I'm like, oh, I know a music shop. It's not far from here. There was a young Gyros who was talking about his uncle. He owns a shop. What was that shop? Alvar owns a music shop.
Well,
we could pop into that one. I'm sure it's open late at night. It'll be fine. We'll just pound on the doors and then, brandish weapons to show that we don't mean any threat, and then they'll let us in. That's normally how it works, yeah?
if the place is all locked up and we still want to make ourselves some acquisitions, and Reverend Mother, you might want to put some feathers over your little finholes here. But I know my way to charm a lot or two if I have to, and I'm very good at vents. Almost like I've got the ideal body shape to go slithering around the air conditionings. Yeah.
Adam, whilst I said the threat is going to be towards making the shop a little bit guarded, I'm going to take your threat and turn it into strain because you get hit around the back of the head with a ruler.
I told you to cover him up. She's lost none of the strength of the arm over the years. I still have nightmares.
I never see it coming. I don't know how she... Ow!
Well, I think,
says the astromech in beeps and whistles,
that you cats need to be going.
Or at the very least, start discussing plans out of ruler range. Ow!
It's kind of painful to watch, but the astromech droid starts trundling towards and going very slowly down the stairs.
I pick him up and then together go very slowly down the stairs because, you know...
I pick them both up. And then just fall down the stairs.
Still got that inner ear problem.
Oh, no, we won't discuss this, but I've never left this room in anything other than flight. So I don't know that you can descend these stairs safely.
One way or another, you find yourself back in the hallway of the Orphanarium. Ed, you know that the Alvar's Musical Emporium is only 2 streets away, but you also know that the nearby city that the Hut Cartel is having the all-comers musical competition in is about 300 miles away. So you're going to need some way of getting there as well.
So the problem, as far as I can see, is we can get our instruments sorted.
Yes, the one problem.
But then we need to get to the gig. And it's 300 miles away, and I can't walk that far because I don't have the right shoes.
I've got a plan. And by plan, I mean I literally just had a thought. Remember those Imperial speeders we saw? I'm willing to bet that the Fuzz has a car, whatever we call cars, a space car.
Speeder?
A speeder, that's the word I'm looking for. I'm willing to bet we can rip off a Imperial speeder, because that way we'll have the same engines as them, the same vents as them, the same shocks, all the same stuff. So it'll be like even pegging.
That does seem like a good idea, but you can't see any of the scout speeders anywhere around at the moment, unless anybody wants to flip any light side points.
I think let's wait until we've stolen stuff before we then move on to the car, because otherwise we'll steal the car now. And
yeah, otherwise we're just going to steal a car and then park it for a bit.
Yes, you never plan the getaway ahead of time.
It's like, I don't know about you, that seems like the opposite of stealing.
Also, most likely steal a car from a nun, which is the opposite of what we actually want to do.
Yeah, and we all know nun cars are the worst. I don't know why.
They are. You will not be able to have a hilarious chase where more speeders crash in a film than any other film with a nun car. It just will not work. It's only one step up from a clown car.
Well, that's fair, but that was my thought just then. Just imagine a nun car, but with clown car detailing. So it's like just full of nuns. hundreds of
just
nuns.
pouring out. They
Yeah.
keep coming. Where are they coming from?
There's some kind of nun singularity in there in the situation, but that's not explored.
Okay, then, unless anybody has anything, I'm going to screen wipe, because that's what you do in Star Wars.
Yes, there is. I want to do a quick thing. Is there, like, in the Orphanarium, are there, like, lockers for the kids? Where do kids keep their personal stuff?
That's exactly what there is. Lockers down one side of the hall, where
Cool.
the kids keep their personal stuff. They also have trunks next to their beds, but this is mostly for school books and things you would use during the day.
Sure. Then what I would like to do is just before we leave, just walk over to this big bank of lockers and like Spider-Man in the film, and lift the lockers up one-handed.
Yeah.
And get out 1, 2, 3 sets of sunglasses.
Yep.
From a secret compartment beneath, and certainly my hat. And toss the sunglasses to Phlebas and to Sneed, and then also put on a black. Is it a trilby? Fedora? I can't remember what hat.
Yeah.
A battered black hat, knowing that at some point I'm going to be punching through the hat to break a window, which frankly doesn't get talked about enough.
Anybody else?
Only that I'll have assembled my gun if we are going somewhere where I can receive violence. So when we wipe back, I will be armed.
So your gun, just describe to everybody what you assemble it from and what it
God,
looks
I
like.
hope it fires bees.
No, but then you'll need more bees.
I'll have a bee debt at that point. So I'll take out my case, and inside the case is about 19,000 different pieces of huzz to be meticulously assembled, and also at least half that many pieces of gun. And then I will very carefully and ceremoniously assemble the gun, and it is beautiful and ornate and completely impractical looking, and goes with my rather faded and tatty regalia and the stick with its spikes.
Mikey, I'd like to don my blast gauntlets. On one hand it says "Sir," and the other hand it says "Am."
Fair enough. You do. And then we screen wipe to outside the musical emporium.
I'm wearing the sunglasses, which do not in any way approach where my eyes are.
Yes, they are not designed for your big boogie face.
So I'm going to describe the music emporium a little bit, and I want you guys to fill in the gaps. So it is, as far as I'm aware, a one-story building with a dirty neon sign outside that says Melodic Emporium. It is shuttered up. There is a fair bit of graffiti on it, but it is standing in space. There is nothing next to it unless you want it on a row of shops or anything like that. Is there anything significant you feel that this emporium should show?
What I was thinking is it's a one-story building,
Yeah.
but in a row of terraces that's like 9 or 10 stories tall. So you've got massive houses over the top of it with all like clotheslines and stuff hanging across, and then this tiny shop down at the bottom that's dwarfed by these much bigger buildings around the side.
I'm happy with that. To the right of it, there is a sporting goods shop, and to the left of it is a hairdresser's, both of which are closed, and both of which are shuttered up. Actually, the hairdresser's isn't. The hairdresser's has some people in it doing something, but it seems to be very subdued. They've closed up shop for that. Maybe they live there, who knows. And as you look across the road to the Musical Emporium, that is where we will end today's episode. Thank you very much to my players. Thank you very, very much to my guests. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. And we'll see you next time.
Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Fantasy Flight Games and Lucas Books. Our intro music for this season is Unholy Night by Kevin MacLeod, and our outro music remains Suburban Outlaw by Forget the Whale, both used with gratitude under the Creative Commons license. If you like the show and want to interact with us, we are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, all of which are at Force Majeure Pod, though Twitter is probably where you're going to find us more regularly. If you enjoy what we do and want to support the show, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is via our Patreon at patreon.com/forcemajeurepod. The second is by buying us a coffee at ko-fi.com/forcemajeurepod. And the third way is by rating and reviewing us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, anywhere where you can find us. We really like reviews. It tells us that we're telling the stories that you want to hear and helps other people find us. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time.